Friends, we move on. We will now have an interaction with a visionary entrepreneur, Shri BVR Mohan Reddy, who will be in conversation with Rakesh Sinha. Shri BVR Mohan Reddy, founder, chairman and board member, Scient, also founder director, T-Hub. Shri BVR Mohan Reddy is a pioneering technocrat, entrepreneur and institution builder who transformed the global perception of India's engineering capabilities. In 1991, he founded Scient, formerly Infotech Enterprises, with a vision to deliver world-class engineering and technology solutions from India to the world. Under his leadership, Scient grew into a multinational powerhouse serving Fortune 100 clients. His influence extends far beyond business. As chairman of NASSCOM and in leadership positions at the CII, Dr. Reddy has shaped policies, promoted digital transformation, and championed the growth of India's IT and engineering sectors. A passionate proponent of education and entrepreneurship, Dr. Reddy serves as chairman of the Board of Governors at IIT Hyderabad and IIT Roorkee. For his outstanding contributions, Dr. Reddy has been honored with numerous awards, including the Padma Shri. We welcome Shri BVR Mohan Reddy, who will be in conversation with Mr. Rakesh Sinha, and the discussion is about India's growing significance, major hubs for tech and innovation GCCs.
With the kind of protocols we had to follow, and I took a couple of minutes extra. I took permission of Mr. Mohan Reddy to wear my shoes back before I come back for a conversation. Thank you, Mr. Mohan Reddy, for being here. As we are calling, this session is all about interaction with a visionary entrepreneur. And I think who better than him? We heard Shri J. Chaudhary a little while ago, how the journey of the tech ecosystem evolved over the last 4 decades. And he has been part of building that industry by taking some bold and courageous moves. So, Mr. Mohan Reddy, you have been one of the visionaries and pioneers who thought of engineering as a service, that too from India 3 decades ago, right? And I can tell you many companies are still trying to figure it out, what to do. And it was like a revolutionary entrepreneurial move. When you reflect today, how do you see it? Was there any plan B in the mind? Some thoughts from you.
Good. Thank you, Rakesh. First, let me thank SSF Global, Rakesh Sinha, and his team for inviting me here. It's indeed a privilege for me to be in the middle of such large number of GCC leaders who are intellectuals by themselves and leading great organizations, just not in India, being part of global companies. Thank you very much, Rakesh, again for inviting me here today. So lesson 1 for me as an entrepreneur is that, you need to do something which is distinctively different from others. That's number 1 that I keep telling people. That if I were to have started one more IT services company, I'm not very sure I probably would have had a seat on the dais today. I'd have probably been lost with many other people around then. It was new. Certainly, I think the second lesson for entrepreneurs is the ability to take risks. Risk-taking becomes yet another important ingredient for people to become successful thereafter. If it is a tried path, then what's the excitement in it? There's nothing new. There's nothing likely to succeed. So that was the second lesson I had. So I tried a path which was less proven ahead of time. No denying it was a path not so smooth, but we overcame those paths. Certainly what leaves behind in mind now is extreme levels of gratification. Just not building a company like what I have today. I have a company which is about 18,000 people strong, a revenue of about $900 million, a market cap of about $2 to $3 billion, depending upon which way the Western world is looking at India. But leaving that apart, more importantly, I had the opportunity of providing leadership to a new category called ER&D services, which was never heard about 32 years back. But interestingly, it has grown to become a $40 billion industry. That's where it is, Rakesh, right now. And it seems to be the fastest growing industry segment within the broad purview of IT services. To your question, Rakesh, about did I have a plan B, that's my third lesson to entrepreneurs. There's nothing called plan B for a startup. If you have a plan B, then your conviction for plan A is not 100%. I'm saying hell or heaven, we'll make it work. That's what we made it happen. Not necessarily, I keep saying, everybody can say the same or everybody else can do the same. There is certainly pitfalls, and you should know the right time to build up. But don't start with an idea, I have a plan A and a plan B. So therefore, my conviction to my plan A made me successful to be where I am today.
So nice, very well articulated. And I think there's a lot of learning for many young entrepreneurs like me, particularly this plan A and plan B, and how to be that courageous to take that bold move at the right time. Just wanted to build it further. I think when you started, and I think in the undivided AP government, was actually very pioneering in terms of collaborating with the industry leaders and many like you, and across the globe. And they did a lot of initiatives to encourage organizations to come and be part of in AP, Andhra Pradesh. And SSFG, as SSF Global, we also work with some of the organizations and very keen to contribute to the government of Telangana and AP to spread this whole AI-powered GCCs. Now, many state governments are taking that initiatives now, following that path of what government of Andhra Pradesh did a few years ago. And they want to promote tier 2, tier 3 cities. From your experience point of view, what is the kind of advice you would like to give to organizations like ours or many sitting here and the government? And how you think this can be fast-tracked, looking at tier 2, tier 3 cities?
Good, thank you, Rakesh, again. Certainly, I think there was a fairly large amount of vision that was there behind making Hyderabad successful. I certainly have to acknowledge my dear friend, Mr. J. Chowdhury, the visionary leader, who helped build Hyderabad to where it is, the state of Andhra Pradesh to be where it is in terms of IT technology. Thank you very much, Chowdhury Garu. Can you join your hands? We've also been recognized with an award. It just happens on the lighter side, both Mr. Chowdhury and I used to be having office in the same building. It's called Maitri Vanam in Amirpet, Huda complex it was. Both of us had offices in the northeast corner. He was in the 4th floor and I was in the 6th floor. So everybody used to think that both became successful, not because of their efforts, but because of the vastu that was there in the northeast corner of the building. But that's on the lighter side, but it definitely meant enormous amount of effort to be where we are at this point of time. But to the point that you made, Rakesh, about tier 2 and tier 3 towns, I've been an early adopter of tier 2 towns far ahead of many others. Hindsight tells me maybe I was a little more ahead of than actually it should have been. 15 years back, I went and opened a center in Kakinada. Kakinada is a small town in the east coast of Andhra Pradesh. I had some connectivity to it, and more importantly, there was a fairly strong political push, and we said everything was working out together, and we went ahead and opened that. We grew it, you can't believe it, to 1,000 people at one point of time. We're now down to about 300 to 400 of them, but it was 1,000 people facility that we had. But then I think, we have several learnings that came out of it. It is not what is the big incentive the government gave to us is primarily saying that we'll give you free land. So I got about 5 acres of 10 acres of land, which I don't feel good at this point of time because it's right now surrendered on one side by an auto nagar, which is a tinkering place for all the accident vehicles. On the other side, it's lush green paddy crop. So there is fairly large amount of challenges we have in terms of subsoil, sinking, constantly by a few inches every year. That's what is happening to that particular facility. But leaving apart, incentive could be one that the government gave, but the rest of it is something which was challenging for us, because the rest of the infrastructure which comes to in tier 2, tier 3 towns then, and even now to a certain extent, is something which we need to address. There are issues relating to schools. There are schools for children, especially for the middle-level managers. There are challenges associated with the healthcare facilities for aging parents. Again, whether it's the, not so much so the young engineers, but for the middle-level managers. But more importantly, the social pressure that came on the younger engineers. One of the things that I keep telling people that is that attrition levels at one point of time were also something which was out of the whack. They were not even in line with cities like Hyderabad or Bangalore, even more than that. And we went back to find out what the reason were. The moment they got experience, they were all now enamored to go to the larger cities like Hyderabad and Bangalore. So therefore, I think what the government has to do further, if tier 2 towns and tier 3 towns have to become more successful, is A, to create that infrastructure. An infrastructure which creates just not the physical infrastructure, but the ecosystem that goes along with it. The ecosystem which says, I need to have nicer places to go, restaurants, pubs, evening time to spend. So what other than that would you find as a major attraction in cities like Hyderabad or Bangalore compared to a place like Kakinada? Or there's no denying at all, opportunities people say are much larger, but once these smaller towns also grow in size, the opportunities also will grow along with it. So therefore, the infrastructure gets created by the government, but equally important is people said there's fairly large amount of talent availability. It's true, India has a lot of talent, and especially a lot of digital talent. But then one of the things that you have to recognize is that this talent, the skills that the talent has are outdated, number one. And number two, it's very patchy. You find it varying from time to time, from place to place, group to group, and so on and so forth. So enormous amount of effort required in terms of skilling these people. So if those two things are done, infrastructure as well as the talent getting even in terms of skills, I think tier 2 towns, tier 3 towns provide a great amount of opportunity for India.
No, absolutely. I think we have seen it. I think it has been patchy. The same point of time, the kind of commitment you rightly said you can receive from a tier 2, tier 3 is phenomenal. And I think again you took a plunge of setting up a center like that so long ago, and it has reaped benefits. Just building on that same point, I think there are various global factors, considerations, which is there, and we are trying to understand what is the future outlook for the GCCs and IT industry in India. What are the potential growth areas? Some thoughts from you.
Sure. I think the headline to me is that opportunity is enormous for GCCs or otherwise as we look into future. I think we are in the middle of a technology tsunami, largely driven by AI. And I believe every industry will be impacted, which effectively says that there will be more amount of opportunities that will get created. There are going to be plenty of opportunities that will come by. So it is absolutely true with GCCs too. The other thing I like to call out and acknowledge all the leaders who are here, and I feel very proud about it, the type of transformation you have done to the GCCs itself. I'm sure Mr. J. Chowdhury will agree with me that the GCCs of the previous era were far different from what you people have with you. Mostly it was BPO, business process outsourcing, or subsequently called as BPM, doing back office work, call centers, transcripts, and so on and so forth. But whereas I've walked into a few of them in the recent past, I felt very, very pleased about it that they all have become innovation centers. They are at the leading edge of technology at this point of time. So given that they are focusing on innovation at this point of time, they are at this point of time focusing more in terms of product development, doing more amount of intellectual property generation from India. I think the future for GCCs looks extremely bright. And it continues to be, India has, people talk about demographic dividend. It's not demographic dividend of one time, it is continuous. The window is open for at least next 20 years, if not 25 years. You'll still get this tremendous amount of talent pipeline. And the key challenge we'll talk about in a minute is also to make sure how well we can use this talent is the key challenge we have. But the sum total is that the future for GCCs, the opportunities are plenty in India. And if you ask me saying that which areas do GCCs focus on, I think it depends upon what their subject matter expertise is. But every area has opportunities, every industry, whether it is financial services, it's insurance, it's manufacturing, it's healthcare, and so on and so forth. But if you specifically call out technologies, I think some of them, the Honorable Governor also called them out, whether it is AI, it is ML, the blockchain, the semicon business, the sustainability, these are the areas which seem to have enormous amount of potential as we move forward.
Absolutely. Thanks for that thought. And I just want to take this further, and I'm sure all of us sitting here will have a very curious question in their mind. On behalf of everyone here, I wanted to ask you, if you have to do a SWOT analysis of the Indian IT and GCC industry, what would you say are the strengths, weaknesses, those opportunities and threats?
Well, I think we talked about it to a certain extent in the last few minutes. The strength of India is certainly is the talent pool that we have, the large amount of digital talent pool that India has at this point of time, the young population that it has, and the ability to for them to learn. I think that's the biggest strength that we have. The talent is the key thing that we believe is the first one that I'll call out as a strength. And the second one is the ecosystem that we have built. I think the connectivity between what, again, Mr. J.H. Chowdhury is doing with the startup ecosystem, with ISF is the institution that he runs at this juncture, and even SSF, right, that is trying to do, the ability to connect institutions of this nature with academia on one side, industry on one side. That ecosystem build-up is, I think, very strong. I think Honorable Governor also called out several other institutions which are there in Telangana, like whether it is TASK, he said he also called out RICH. These are some of the institutions which certainly help us in terms of moving this momentum in innovation that I believe is the strength that we have. And certainly the third one that I also will call out is that there's a fairly large amount of global thrust. I think the mindset, if you look at companies and the people who work in these companies, all think about global scenarios. If you look at the weakness, I just called it out. I think as much as our strength is our people, our weakness is also our people. It's the skills which is the challenge that we have with the people. My new passion in life is all about education. People called out, I run 2 of the IITs for Government of India, but I also run 2 NITs for Government of India. There are 4 academic institutions centrally funded with me, which are under my leadership. And these, of course, are premium education institutions. People do not understand there are 23 IITs at this point of time. There are 29 NITs in the country, but all together don't produce more than 1% of the engineering talent in this country. What gets produced by the private engineering colleges or state engineering colleges. And what we have as a big challenge is we don't still have the right infrastructure. We don't have the right faculty to ensure that we get the skills of the future into the hands of these children who are graduating, who actually are the people who will build Viksit Bharat. I keep saying it's not my responsibility to build Viksit Bharat area in my life. It's the responsibility of the graduating students at this point of time who will participate for the next 25 years in building this industry, building this country, nation building, to ensure that we truly become Viksit Bharat. So the weakness I see at this point of time is talent on one side is a strength, but talent is also weakness. We need to get these skills evened across so that, you know, we also will have opportunities in Tier 2 and Tier 3 towns too. Now, let's look at the opportunities that come by. We called out some of them. Technology is at its best. We don't think that it's slowing down in any way. It's, if at all, if I like to call it out, I'll say it's becoming faster and faster. And if you look at those 4 pillars I keep talking them about, One is the pillar of computers, storage, etc. And the second one was communication. The third one is the sensors. And fourth one is the algorithms. In all four of them, I think that we are just at the very beginning before the explosion would happen. Computers will become faster, cheaper, smaller. They're becoming so in the last 50 years, 1975, 1976, when Gordon Moore called it out. But what we see is it will still continue for another 50 more years, if not longer. I don't know. And say is the case with connectivity. With now 5G technologies with a latency which is less than 1 millisecond, it certainly creates enormous amount of opportunities for us. So therefore, the technology revolution being what it is, there are fairly large number of opportunities. And finally, if you look at threats, I'm sure you hear them, see them, feel them every morning. Truth Social will tell you a new threat that comes across to you every morning. So this tariff barriers, protectionism, these are the ones which I feel will continue to be threats for all of us, just not the GCCs. So these are the landscape that I see, Rakesh.
I think very well articulated this strength, weakness, opportunities and threat. And I think many of us would like to take some of these back to our own organizations to really see how we can work on those opportunities and at the same time try to respond to some of these weaknesses. And you rightly talked about, I think there's 1.6 million engineers produced every year, and they're not all from NITs and IITs. I think
yes.
there's a huge contrast we can see from that point of view. So talent is a strength and a weakness as well. And I think there's a lot of contribution needs to go there very clearly. Just wanted to take a view from you in terms of there's a handful of leaders sitting here. They all are representing large global capability centers, working with large global organizations, different complexities, different challenges. And we, as a leader, we have an onus to even keep the flag high by saying India is a GCC capital. We produce on one side 1.6 million engineers, which is our strength. At the same point of time, we also know there are some challenges and weaknesses, and headquarters are demanding something differently. So what kind of if you were to say there are two top guidance or suggestions you would like to share with us by saying we should keep in the mind by how we should sustain that GCC's growth?
Certainly, I think this is something which is very important to me. And not that I'm obsessed with it, but I certainly feel it's so critical at this point of time, is that my humble request to the GCCs also is to focus on talent. Don't just go and recruit the people that are available at this point of time. I'm sure you can afford it, so therefore it's 10%, 15%. There doesn't seem to be end to it in terms of raise, in terms of costs. And the talent pipeline is not certainly being filled up. And somebody else has to do the job, and that cannot be just done by one company, two companies, three companies. It has to be all of us together. You may be GCCs, I'm a domestic company, or I'm a global company which is based out of Hyderabad. But all of us have the responsibility of growing the right talent with skills in this country. So therefore, my request to all of you is to look at the pipeline of talent that we have and spend some more time and effort in terms of improving the talent. Whether it's the industry academia connect to make sure that we get that talent industry ready, rather than go and just take people from the market, the competitor, the rest of the companies. I think we should definitely focus ourselves in skilling people for future. And that, I think, that capability exists very much with the GCCs and the other industries too. So therefore, my first suggestion to my friends from the GCC community is please focus on talent, building the talent pipeline in ensuring that, we have a large pipe and we have an industry which will grow in this nation. The second one, if you permit me, Rakesh, is all about inclusive growth. I think, a nation can certainly become very strong with inclusive growth. You're a part of the nation building. GCs are an important leg. We have the Honorable Governor said 1700. but the last number that I had was 1,800. The last number that I also saw is that they employ 1.8 million professionals. It is about 30% of the total. The total professionals that are getting directly employed by the IT industry in India is about 6 million. So this is about 30% of it. It's a large part of it. That large part, so you are a part of our nation building. So, but if the nation has to build together well, inclusivity becomes extremely important. So therefore, please think about the tier 2 towns, the tier 3 towns, making sure that we have, if not the 50% of women employees, getting them to at least the 35s and 40s. That's what we need to push ourselves. That's when you'll help us in terms of truly realizing Viksit Bharat for this nation. Or, you know, the rest of the stuff that are ingredients to become inclusive is sustainability. The ESG initiatives that have to be put in place. These are some of the things which will help us in terms of building a nation, and you are as responsible as I am because we're all part of this journey.
I think absolutely we all are responsible for that inclusive development, and we all should take and make that commitment that we'll be doing whatever it takes to have this inclusive development happen. With this, I think I'm very keen to hear some thoughts or questions from anyone here. For any questions for Mr. Mohan Reddy? I think, can we have a mic for Shri Jay Chaudhary here, please? Yeah, there's a mic here already. There's a mic at the back, please.
Thank you, Mohan Reddy Garu, for your excellent insights. Not only for the GCCs, for all the rest of the industries.
Thank you.
Recently, Mohan Reddy Garu, I was in New York. I met one CEO of a multi-billion-dollar company. They are mostly into IT services. I asked him, what is the impact of AI, generative AI, on the manpower? He said, don't quote me, but 70% of the programming is going to be automated. And they employ several lakhs of people around the globe. So what will be the challenging environment in India with 6 million people working in this IT industry and majority of them doing the rudimentary programming? What will happen to, how do we take care of this challenge? Mohan Reddy Garu.
Thank you, Chaudhary Garu. Very good question. I happened to have an opportunity to have this conversation with Mr. Nandan Nilekani about a couple of weeks back. We had lunch together. And the same question that comes up. But we believe the impact you're saying, 70% is one way of looking at it. The other way of looking at it is that the AI could be a profound impact as electricity had on mankind, or discovery of wheel had on mankind. That's the type of impact AI could create. So it's going to be a very, very serious challenge that we have. But here is what we feel, that the number of people that are going to be used in project, take the example of coding. Coding will come down. So number of projects that will be used in a project will come down. But I think there will be an exponential increase in terms of number of projects. There are areas we never thought about that technology will be used. Look at education at this point of time. In education, you can, and I keep saying, I'm sorry, I'll give more examples of education because that's where I spend my time, is that I keep saying, whom does the teacher teach? Even in IIT systems, the first 10% of the class. And the output is amazing is because, not because he's the teacher, is because the students are good. But you look at the rest of the people, so therefore, they're not as good. The key reason for it is that the impact of the teacher is not so intense. Whereas now, with an AI system in education, you can have individual learning paths for each child. So which effectively means that the pace at which a child learns, the computer keeps track of them. That's how they try to give them inputs. They also bring their level up. It's both-way process. You have a check and thereafter you get an elevation. So the result is there will be number of projects that will be exponentially growing in whether it is education, agriculture, logistics, healthcare, name it, they'll all be there. So I think there could be a temporary aberration that would happen as people, because the key to it would also lie in people being reskilled. the reskilling part may take a little bit of time, but I think in the long run, I think the mankind will definitely get benefited out of it.
Any other questions? I think time's up, but is a short question, if anyone is having a short question. No. Very nice. Thank you. I'm happy because I think time's up and I think we finished on time.
Thank you,
Mr. Mohan.
Thank you, Rakesh.
Absolutely
Thank
pleasure
you for
to
the
have
very
you.
interesting questions that you had for me. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
That was a wonderful, very interesting and engaging chat with Shri BVR Mohan Reddy. May I request Mr. Rakesh Sinha to offer a memento to Shri BVR Mohan Reddy, thanking him for his valuable inputs and time.
One more of these. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Rakesh.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
I just wanted to make a quick a point here as a reference. I think it's a pleasure to have two legends here today. Shri J. Chaudhary, as you witnessed, he was recognized by SSF as a visionary and a pioneering leader.
Thank you,
Shri
sir.
BVR Mohan
Thank you.
Reddy has
Thank
already
you.
been recognized by SSF as a visionary and a pioneering leader way back in 2016. So a round of applause for
I'm
both
sure
of
it
them, please. Thank you.